When you believe in the words of what Woody Allen said, he said that 80% of success is simply showing up. And so I thank every single one of you for showing up. So here's what I want to talk to you about. My question for you is this: who told you that it was going to be easy? That's right. Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to take your business off the ground? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to have a successful marriage? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to go back and get the second degree? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to build a tremendous and amazing career? Who told you that it was going to be easy for you to pursue your goals and your dreams in life? And here's what I come to realize. There are too many people who are going after their goals and their dreams, and they're giving up far too early because they underestimated the process. They didn't understand that it was going to be hard, that it was going to be tough, that they was going to experience some challenges, that there's going to be some setbacks along the way, that there's going to be some lean periods, some lean years when their bank account doesn't quite look like the way that they would want it to be, when they're growing the business and they're not quite getting the amount of customers and clients that they would really like. They didn't quite tell them and prepare them and tell them that, hey, you know what? When you stood there and you said, for better or for worse, till death do us part, and you said, I do, that it wasn't going to be all roses and sunshine. No, that there are going to be periods in your marriage. There are going to be periods in your relationship where your spouse is going to maybe perhaps drive you crazy. There are going to be times where you're going to be forced to stretch and to grow. And I tell you this, there are many people that when they think about their goals and their dreams and the things that they want to do, they had no idea that when they set out to do it, that it's going to oftentimes be much more complicated and much more involved. And I just want to be that voice that tells you, you know what? It's not easy. As a matter of fact, it's never going to be easy. Anything that you're looking to do that's significant, anything that you're looking to do that's in line with your purpose, your calling, and your destiny is not necessarily going to be easy. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. And I'm not saying that you don't have everything that is required in order for you to do it. I'm not saying that this is not a special calling and a purpose in your life. But what I'm saying is, once you decide to go on the journey and raise the bar in your life, once you decide to write the book, once you decide to get married, once you decide to start the business, once you decide to grow the prosperous career, once you decide that you're going to go after your goals and your dreams, understand that it is going to be hard. And anybody that tells you anything differently, they're setting you up for failure. And I believe that many more people, that they would have much more success, and more people wouldn't chicken out and give up on their goals and their dreams if somebody was just honest with them and flat out told them, listen, you want to write a book? It's going to be hard. You know what? You want to go ahead and build a successful business? It's going to be hard. You want to get married? It's the most amazing thing that you can do, but it's going to be hard. You want to go after your goals and your dreams, and you want to live your purpose, your calling. You want to impact lives. You want to not just influence and impact your own life, but you want to help other people to change their lives also. Listen, it's going to be hard. But one thing that I know for certain is that it's absolutely worth it. And when I share this with you, I think about, there's one particular time, one of my fraternity brothers came by my house. This was years ago, but, he was just in town visiting. And so I told him, listen, man, no problem. You could go ahead and come crash with me. And so I remember he was sitting down in the living room area, sitting down on the couch. And I just saw him just shaking his head. He was just like shaking his head. And I was like, Mark, man, why are you shaking your head? He said, man, Andy, man, he said, nobody told me. I said, Mark, what do you mean? Nobody told you what? He said, listen, man, nobody told me. I said, nobody told you what? He said, nobody told me that it was going to be like this. I said, what do you mean it was going to be like this? Mark said, nobody told me that it was going to be hard, man. He said, I didn't realize that life was going to be this hard. I didn't realize it was going to be this hard for me to grow my business. I didn't realize that it was going to be this hard for me to stay afloat. And the reason why he was saying that, because he was in the process of trying to go out on his own and start his own business. And of course, in the process of trying to start his own business, life came around the corner and gave him a couple of nickies right on his head, right? And so he was realizing that, you know what, this is a little more difficult than what I thought it was going to be. And I thought it was hilarious to this day, because my mom was actually around when he said this, and we laughed to this day. My mom always goes, hey, how's your fraternity brother who says that he didn't know that it was going to be hard? How's he doing? And I say, Mom, he's doing good now. He's doing good. But we thought it was hilarious because I understand that a lot of people feel like that. You see, there's a lot of people that, are going after their goals and their dreams. They're going after whatever it is that they're looking to pursue in life. And they're saying to themselves, the thing that Mark was able to voice out vocally, and they're saying to themselves that, you know what, nobody told me that it was going to be like this. Nobody told me that it was going to be this hard. Nobody told me that when I was growing my business and I was trying to make things happen, that I was going to hear all these no's. Nobody told me that being married to somebody, that we're going to have many differences and that was going to cause friction. It was going to cause me to grow. Nobody told me that, you know what, if I decide to go a different path and go back to school and get my thing, that I was going to be outside of my comfort zone. It was going to be difficult for me to balance my personal life and school. Nobody told me that when I was going to go after my goals and my dreams, that there was not going to be an exact blueprint and that nobody was going to be there to go ahead and do all the work for me, that I was going to have to do it myself and figure it out. And so they're thinking to themselves, nobody told me that it was going to be so hard. And so there's a part of them that wonders to themselves, is it worth it? There's a part of them that wonders, is this really for me? Should I keep pushing forward? And I tell you right now, and some of you have heard me share this, but I'm telling you, when I left my job in 2004, when I left corporate America, my confidence level was like on a scale from 1 to 10, it was at a 10. And the reason why it was at a 10 is because, number one, I had saved up a significant amount of money in my savings. That was one of the reasons why my confidence was at a 10. The other thing is that I had recently been introduced to a company, and I thought for sure that I was going to make my way up into this direct sales company, and I was going to be one of the top producers within the next 2 years. I was going to be like the top producer in the company. And so between that and the money that I had saved up, I thought for sure that becoming a successful entrepreneur, I thought for sure this new path that I paved out for myself, I thought for sure that it was going to be easy. But let me tell you something. It was far from being easy. And so let me just tell you, I found out very quickly that it was so much harder than what I thought it was going to be. And I tell you, I took all that money that I had saved up and I made this big investment. And I was sure that this investment was going to pay off. I was sure that I was going to just be ultra rich entrepreneur. And let me just tell you, it was a bad investment. I lost all of my money. And so let me just tell you, as I was in my bedroom, trying to grasp the fact that I had lost literally all of my savings, the very savings that gave me the confidence to leave my job in corporate America, coming to the realization that literally now I had very minimal funds to my name and I just quit my corporate career. Let me tell you, I found out very quickly what the word hard meant. Let me tell you, it was hard for me to continue to believe that I was going to make something happen when all of my savings were gone. It was hard for me to push forward knowing that I had left my corporate job and that it was really going to be a little shameful for me to go back and have to ask it was hard because I didn't necessarily have a blueprint. Nobody was saying, hey, Andy, do this, then do that, then do this. There was no necessarily blueprint. Nobody told me, hey, Andy, if you do this, we've got you covered. There was no more safety net. Let me just tell you, I had to discover what it meant to do something that was hard. And let me tell you, when you're doing something that's hard, sometimes you're going to have to exercise some faith. When you're doing something that's hard, you're going to have to dig deep. When you're doing something that's hard, you're going to have to step outside of your comfort zone. When you're doing something that's hard, sometimes you have to come to the realization that some of the people who start with you will not finish with you. In other words, at the very beginning of your journey, as you look to your right and you look to your left and you see the other people who are starting the journey with you, as you go through a difficult journey, trust and believe that when you look to your right and you look to your left again, chances are that they're no longer going to be there standing with you. And so you've got to dig deep. You've got to dig within yourself and say, wait a second, I can make this thing happen. Wait a second, I can push through, because I understand that sometimes in life you're going to encounter some things that are a little difficult, a little hard. I spent the earlier part of the afternoon today with a good friend of mine, and we were having a conversation, and I'm so proud of him. He just recently went ahead and bought a $1 million property, and he's going to be doing some fantastic things with that $1 million property. One of the things he's going to be doing is a bed and breakfast. And he was telling me how he stumbled across this amazing woman who is going to become sort of like the manager for his bed and breakfast. And he was telling me the woman's story. And he said, Andy, you don't understand. He said, I met this amazing woman. He said, but man, let me just tell you, man, she has one crazy story. I said, what's that? He said, man, you know what? She was in a relationship, and unfortunately, you know, the relationship got a little toxic. It got a little difficult. It got somewhat abusive. And shortly thereafter, unfortunately, you know, she had her vehicle, and that was her vehicle that she was using, and she was in the process of job searching. And while she was in the process of job searching, guess what, Andy? Her vehicle broke down, and unfortunately, she didn't necessarily have the resources to get her vehicle fixed. And then he said, wait a second, Andy, it gets a little worse than this. After her vehicle breaks down, guess what? She actually does get a job. So there is a little bit of a silver lining there, but now she doesn't have a vehicle. And he said, Andy, listen, man, this woman was waking up every single day, man, early, 2 hours early, because it took her about 2 hours to ride the bus to get to her job. And when she would leave her job, it would take another 2 hours in order for her to get home. So her total commute is about 4 hours. And so at this point, she's just doing whatever she can to just keep pushing forward, man. And he said that you would never know, because I went to the place that she was working. And he said that the way that she was showing up, man, she had so much energy. She had so much charisma. She was so positive. He said, you know what? All I kept thinking about, you know what? Now that I have this new venue and I'm going to be doing this bed and breakfast, I need somebody with drive. I need somebody with determination. I need somebody that's got grit. And most importantly, I need somebody that is comfortable with doing hard, because I understand that even though I have this amazing property, it's going to be hard for me to roll out the things that I want to do. I understand it's going to require a little bit of hustle. It's going to require some hard work. It's going to require maybe perhaps having this to make things happen, just to be able to go ahead and pay the mortgage and so forth that we have on the property. And I was listening to him share that, and I had the privilege to meet this woman. And the moment I shook her hand, I knew right away that she understood that sometimes in life you got to be willing to do hard. And when life gets hard, as it did for that woman, when life gets hard and you're going through the relationship and the relationship goes south, when life gets hard and you have, unfortunately, a major setback, like, you know, your only vehicle and you only have the resource and your vehicle breaks down. When life gets hard and you got to take 2 hours to get to your job and 2 hours to get home, and you're basically living paycheck to paycheck. When life gets hard, you got to be willing to do hard. You got to be willing to lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg would say. You've got to be willing to do whatever is necessary to make things going. You got to be willing to push through. As Winston Churchill said, he said, you know what he said? Here's what Winston Churchill said. He said, when you're going through hell, keep going. Why in the world do you want to stay during the difficult moments in life? Don't sit there and park. Many people, as they're doing hard and they're trying to figure things out, and they're in the middle of a hard, difficult situation, they decide to go ahead and pull out a lawn chair and grab themselves a little smoothie, lay down in the lawn chair and lay down in the middle of what's hard. And they just moan and groan about how difficult it is. You don't understand, I lost my job. You don't understand, this is what my husband or wife did to me. You don't understand, I lost the investment. You don't understand who cheated me and all this stuff. And so they talk about over and over about all the things that people did and how difficult things are going, and they're expecting things to change. Well, listen to this. Wayne Dyer said this: at some point, you got to change your perspective. And here's the other thing. If nothing changes, then nothing changes. And at some point, you got to be willing to invoke a change in your life. You got to be willing to fold up the lawn chair, go ahead and put that smoothie to the side, because you don't have time to be sipping on a smoothie right now. And you got to go ahead and keep pushing forward, even when it's difficult, even when your bank account is not necessarily reflective of what you believe is possible, even when you got that little voice on the inside that's saying, I don't know if this is necessarily possible. You got to be willing and have the conviction and the willingness to do what's hard. And here's what I know for certain. Listen, not everything in life is necessarily going to be hard, but anything worth doing will be hard. You want to have a successful marriage? It's going to be hard. You want to have a successful business? It's going to be hard. You want to go ahead and do a career change and go after your goals and your dreams? It's going to be hard. Now, here's the good news. It's absolutely worth it. And here's the other good news, that you have the capacity and you have the ability to make this thing happen. But you have to be willing to do hard. You got to be willing to embrace it. You got to be willing and understand that it's going to be a challenge. Today, I popped into a meeting and my friend put me on the spot. And he said, hey, we got Andy Henriquez here. Andy Henriquez is the author of Show Up for Your Life, 7 Principles to Living an Extraordinary Life. And we would love for him to share a couple words with us. And this was an audience primarily of real estate investors. And it just so happened that right when I was about to speak, there was somebody who was actually sitting in the audience who made it out to my book launch, which was this past weekend. But they didn't just make it out to the book launch. They actually already read the book. And so he's talking about how he loved the book, and he brought up a particular story in the book. And he was talking about this young man that I talk about in the book. His name is Propel. And I was talking about back when I used to be coaching people and helping them to go ahead and start learning how to invest in real estate. Propel approached me and he came to talk to me, and he wanted to get my real estate coaching program. And at that time, I think that program is very cheap. I think it was only like $500. And I told Propel, listen, man, it's $500. And Propel said, unfortunately, listen, man, I don't have $500 right now. So I said, Propel, here's my telephone number, man. Definitely give me a call periodically. I do a real estate investor meeting. You're more than welcome to come by. And so every week or so, Propel would sort of call in, check in, ask me a couple questions, say, hey, Andy, what do I do? I said, listen, man, you got to get comfortable with the real estate contract. You want to start having some areas of real estate that you can what we call farm, get used to and accustomed to those areas. You want to make sure that every single day that you're going on the computer and that you're actively looking for deals. And then all of a sudden I heard Propel get a little quiet. I said, Propel, you there? He said, yeah. I said, well, what's going on? He said, listen, man, I don't necessarily have a computer right now. I don't have internet access. I said, well, Propel, you're gonna have to figure that out. I said, well, listen, that's okay, because all you gotta do is just go ahead and drive someplace, bring your laptop and so forth that has internet access. And Propel was a little quiet. He said, listen, man, I had a car, but it broke down. And so I don't have a car right now. I said, wait a second, Propel, let me get this right. You don't have a computer, you don't have internet access, and wait a second here, you also are telling me you don't have a car. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know what? This guy is literally insane. And so week after week, Propel is still calling me. So literally it's getting to the point now where I'm trying to figure out who's crazier, Propel, who continues to call me, or me, because I'm picking up Propel's phone calls, knowing that he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a computer, and not just that, but the man doesn't even have the resources to go ahead and get involved with real estate investing. And so sure enough, week after week, I'm getting a call from Propel. Then it goes a little bit and I don't hear from Propel. And so I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Maybe this guy has finally quit. And so I can't blame this guy if he quits. You know, he doesn't have a car, he doesn't have a computer, he doesn't have internet access. And so finally, out of nowhere, my phone rings. And sure enough, I pick it up and guess who's on the line? It's Propel. And I go, hello? And it's Propel on the other line. He said, hello, Andy? I say, yeah, what's going on, Propel? He says, listen, man, I got a deal. I said, wait a second, Propel. What do you mean you got a deal? He said, listen, man, I've been doing everything that you told me to do, man. I started going through the real estate contracts. I've been out there. I put out these bandit signs that you told me to do. I've been farming the areas. I've been looking for deals online. I said, wait a second, well, Propel, how you been doing that? You told me you don't have a car, you don't have internet access. He said, yeah, I don't have a car, sir, but I have a bike. And so I've been riding my bike to the library, sir. And when I get to the library, there's a computer room. And sometimes I have to sit there 20, 30 minutes and wait for the computer to come available. And then when the computer comes available, I look for the deals, sir. And I was printing out the address. I said, well, how are you looking at the homes? He said, then I would go ahead and MapQuest the home, sir. And I said, well, how are you getting there? He said, sir, I was riding my bike. I said, Propel, you are riding your bike to go look at homes? He said, yeah. I said, well, how long was that taking? He said, sometimes an hour and sometimes even 2 hours. I said, oh my goodness, Propel. And he said, I was even putting out signs and everything, sir. And somebody called off of one of my signs and, sir, I've got a deal. I said, Propel, man, you really have a deal? He said, sir, I've got a deal. I said, man, if you've got a deal, man, I'm going to honor my word, man. I'm going to see what I could do to help you out. And so sure enough, I got on the phone with Propel. And so we followed through with the deal. And Propel was able to tie the property under contract. and then go ahead and flip the contract to another investor. And it was like his first wholesale deal, and Propel made $8,000. And let me just tell you something about Propel. You see, he wasn't afraid of doing hard. You see, the average person who's going after their goals and their dreams, they would have stopped at not having a computer. They would have stopped at not having internet access. They would have stopped at not having a vehicle. But you see, Propel didn't care about that. You see, he was willing to do what was hard. And let me tell you, it's hard to swallow your pride and get on your bicycle every single day and go sit at the library and wait for a computer to come available. It's hard to get on your bike and ride your bike an hour, 2 hours to go look at properties, just to go look at them in the hot heat in South Florida. It's hard to keep going after your goals and your dreams from a bicycle, knowing that you don't have the resources and so forth. But Propel was willing to do hard. He was willing to be unstoppable. And so here's what I say to you right now. That right now, maybe perhaps you got a goal, you got a dream, there's something that you're working on. Maybe you're looking to start the business or take your business to the next level. Maybe you've been making a career change or a shift. Maybe you're in a marriage right now and things are a little difficult. They're not quite going the way that you wanted them to. Maybe right now you're thinking about going after your goals and your dreams and you're afraid and you're realizing that it's hard. What I want to tell you is this: yes, it is hard. Don't let anyone fool you. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them think you that it's going to actually be easy. Many people fall by the wayside. Many people give up on their goals and their dreams. Why? Because of the fact that they've bought into the fact that it's going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. No, it's going to be hard. But although it's going to be hard, it's absolutely worth it. And you have been created to be able to make this thing happen. Let me tell you this. Anything that has your name on it is for you. And so if you know that book has your name on it, if you know the business has your name on it, if you know that this new career path has your name on it, understand this, that what is yours is yours. No one can take that away from you. But understand this, that you can't just relax and sit back on your back. You're going to have to put in some work. You're going to have to go through some difficult moments. You're going to have to keep pushing in. When I left corporate America and I lost that significant investment, that was hard. It was hard for me to continue to believe in myself after I made that poor investment and I lost my money. It was hard to have faith and keep pushing forward when I no longer had a check coming in and hit my bank account every 2 weeks. That was hard. But let me tell you right now that the reason why you're hearing from me right now, the reason why I've had the privilege to be able to work with CEOs and going to major corporations, the reason why I get the opportunity to share messages, the reason why I could say that I've just recently published this book is because I was willing to do hard. And there's no difference between me or anybody else that you see out there that's making some things happen. They were just willing to make a conscious decision to do what's hard. And so I'm going to challenge you right now that for you to go ahead and be seriously serious about going after your goals and your dreams. I want you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. I want you to commit to doing what's hard. And so what I tell you right now is this, that even though it's going to be hard, it's going to be absolutely worth it. And even though it's going to be hard, you can, in fact, make this thing happen. And so here's what I'm hoping and wishing. I'm hoping I'm going to eventually get a message from you, an email or something. You're going to reach out and say, Andy, listen, man, I heard your message. And you know what? I was in the middle of a process. Things was a little difficult. But after hearing your message, I made the decision to do hard. And as a result of making a decision to do hard, just like you say, everything that I was going through at that moment, it didn't come to stay, but it came to pass. And because I was willing to go through it, I found myself growing through it. And I came out the other side a different person. And now today I'm a published author. And now today I'm the business owner. And today I'm making an impact. And today I'm making things happen. Why, Andy? Because I was willing to do what's hard. And so I'm going to challenge you right now. Stop taking the easy way out. Stop convincing yourself that you're doing something wrong because things are getting difficult, and understand that it's part of the process. If you follow and listen to most successful people, don't just look at their highlight reel. Find out the true story. And when you hear the true story, you'll find out that it is just laced and covered with hard moments and hard activities that the person had to overcome. And those are the same things that you could do. So I'm looking forward to listening to what your success story is. So I'm going to challenge you to do what's hard. I'm going to challenge you to dig deep. I'm going to challenge you to lean in. And you know this wouldn't be Andy Henriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Show up for your lives, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't, if you don't? Nobody else